Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick Carroll and I want to speak to you today about disc golf, form change, troubleshooting methodology. So the reason I'm making this video is because I don't really see any content online that talks about this in the disc golf YouTube space. So I'm here to start a conversation to fill this void. Now keep in mind that I am not a form coach, and as many of you know, I have bad form that I've been working on. So don't take this as advice coming from a professional form coach. I'm not a swing coach, a movement coach, or some other coach. So just keep that in mind. However, I'm an accomplished, trained, skilled, and experienced network engineer with over 30 years of professional experience in a wide variety of IT roles. And I have a lot of experience with troubleshooting systems, networks, and infrastructure. So what I'm about to tell you comes from a highly technical perspective that I believe applies in some way to disc golf form coaching, and I believe other sports use their own methods to pick and choose from. With that said, in this video, I'm going to go over 6 different troubleshooting methods that I believe translate from the information technology world to the disc golf world. So let me set the stage here. We're talking about changing our form to throw discs better. And keep in mind that a putt is a type of throw, so this methodology applies to putting as well as throwing. So let's talk about what troubleshooting is in a nutshell. Typically, trouble is something that's wrong or defective or broken, or maybe something that's not used properly or is performed incorrectly. Troubleshooting is the act of resolving issues, solving problems, and fixing things. When we troubleshoot our form, we're trying to find out what's wrong with what someone else is doing or with what we're doing. And this can be harder than it seems to troubleshoot, because often a problem that we have or that someone else has an underlying cause. And that may be a result from a form fix from something else, that caused negative effects downstream. It may be a physical limitation like a lack of mobility that prevents us from doing something, or the problem itself might be a result of a larger problem that needs to be tackled. So we don't just need to identify a problem, we need to identify root problems that might be causing other secondary or even tertiary issues. What I'll be talking about today are 6 different approaches to fixing issues. I'll mention what they are initially, and then I'll go through each one of them. But before I do that, we need to discuss whether or not something that's noticed is actually a problem. If what is noticed doesn't negatively affect the throw or in any way harm the thrower, it may not actually be a problem. There's a range of acceptability that each individual has which may not track with someone else. We have different hands, different grips, different hip alignment, different foot orientation, and different positions that we might be strongest. One person's optimal foot placement or grip may not be the same as another person's. Also keep in mind that not every solution to a problem fixes the problem for someone else. For example, if 2 people have a problem with elbow drop during their swing, but they're caused by 2 different root causes, then the solution to fix elbow drop for one person may not be effective for the other person. So keep in mind that many problems are individualistic, therefore the solution is likely to be individualized. Also keep in mind there's an order of operations. First, you have to define the problem, then you have to gather information about it, and then you have to analyze the problem. This is also the stage in which you try to determine if there's a larger problem that maybe causes this problem. You have to look downstream, ask why does this happen, and then go down from there. Then you can take action by trying to resolve the problems, and that's where the different methodologies that I'm going to present come into play. Once you eliminate some probable causes, you can then determine if the problem still exists, and if so, what might remain as a cause. And then from there, you can determine a course of action. You basically repeat this process until the indicated problem is resolved, and that's why it's so important to understand that each of the possible troubleshooting methods are out there so you can attack, the problem from different angles. Now let's talk about the 6 approaches that I've identified. We have top-down, bottom-up, divide and conquer, chronological, compare and contrast, and swap components. So let's talk about the top-down approach first. This is one of the most popular troubleshooting methods for solving throwing issues. As you might expect from the name, this starts from the topmost part of the throw, the grip, the wrist alignment, elbow positioning, and arm movement during the throw. From there, you'd work on head positioning and spine orientation, the hips and legs, and so forth. You might also progress from a standstill throw to a one-step throw to a three-step to a full walk-up or run-up. This is a method that Clint, aka It Splits, prefers as he starts throwers in a standstill position and works from the grip, wrist, elbow, arms, and shoulders down to the feet. Now let's go in the reverse order, the bottom-up approach. This is the other most popular troubleshooting method where you start from the bottom, the feet. The person may start out here with standstills, or troubleshooting may start from a walk-up, focusing on footwork, getting the orientation and placement of the feet correct, and then the movement and the positioning of the legs, rotation of the hips, pelvis, and torso, and then move up to the shoulders, arm, elbows, wrist, and then grip. This is the method that Owen from Trebuchet Disc Golf tends to prefer. He might start someone out at foot placement and recommend different drills to work on to get the body to engage properly, and then establish the kinetic chain through the throw. And the next method is called divide and conquer, where you essentially start in the middle. And this is often overlooked because of the previous two methods, but this is a compromise between the top-down and the bottom-up approaches. Typically with this method, you start in the middle, the torso, and based on your findings, you then work your way either upwards or downwards. Next up is the chronological method, or follow the path. This is a unique approach in that you start troubleshooting from the beginning of the throw to the end of the throw. You start in either the standstill position or to just prior to them taking the first step of their walk up or run up, and then you fix each step in order in which it's performed. This is a method that Scott Stokely prefers, in slight combination with the top-down approach. He teaches how to do a basic throw initially, and then he has a couple drills where you start performing the walk up with the first drill, and once that's mastered, it is then modified into a second drill that's performed with some modifications, and then you basically submit your form, and then trainers diagnose what you're doing and then tell you how to correct from there. Next up is the compare and contrast approach, aka spot the difference. This is a very common approach and is often used as a supplement to other methods that I'm listing here. You might pull up a throw or a drive from one professional disc golfer, and then you put the person that you're working with next to them in a program like Coach's Eye. And then you compare the similarities and point out the contrasts. This might not help as much with regard to individual differences, but this can often highlight or point out obvious issues. This is by no means limited to overthrow disc golf. This is one of the most common methods that I see applied across many trainers. I also believe Coach T from Slingshot Disc Golf does the same, starting people at the magic position based on a Paul Macbeth and Drew Gibson drive, and using the same positions that they get into at each aspect of the disc golf drive using a cross step. Last but not least, we have the swap components method, aka mix and match. This is a targeted approach where you take the component or aspect of one drive or throw and you mix and match with another method of performing it, say from another person. For example, you might try a Paul Macbeth walk-up instead of a James Conrad walk-up, or a Philo Brathwaite approach throw instead of a Seppo Payu approach throw. You might also try an Eagle McMahon spin putt instead of a Greg Barsby Heiser putt. So I would say Power Disc Golf Academy probably follows this route more than some of the others, given they have tutorials on every aspect of basically disc golf, and you can basically watch them in any particular order. They have different sections, and each section has an order within, but you can watch any of those sections or subsections at any time, and you could theoretically substitute what they teach in one section in lieu of what someone is currently doing right now, just to see if that helps them. But someone could essentially pick their own path and change any aspect of their form by focusing on any one of the lessons taught in this program. So that wraps up the structured troubleshooting approaches. You notice these are very much like training methods, not just for troubleshooting. You could start anyone at ground zero using any of these methods to get them throwing. That said, the most popular methods are so popular because they offer a foundation that applies very much like a basic training program. Also, trainers can mix and match any of these methods. With that said, are you aware of other troubleshooting methods that I haven't listed here? I believe coaches can use any or all these methods to help their clients, and if you don't have a coach, these methods might help you reach your goals of fixing your form. Well, that's it for now. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, as I have much more disc golf content on the way. Thank you very much for watching, and Have a great day.